With the court ruling in favor of Min Hee Jin, a lot of things have started coming out that don't paint HYBE in the best light. Here's a rundown of everything debunked, from HYBE's orchestrated witch hunt against Min Hee Jin to the lack of evidence which they claimed they had. As you may know, the court ruled that HYBE cannot use its voting rights in the May 31st shareholders meeting to dismiss Min Hee Jin as Adore CEO and would face a penalty of $15 million if they did. This amount doesn't include the Min Hee Jin option, which could also add another $75 to $150 million. On May 30th, Min Hee Jin's lawyers issued a statement after the court granted her injunction against HYBE. They said that the court's decision to grant the injunction was based on careful consideration of both sides. According to the statement, since the May 7th injunction, HYBE has submitted documents 11 times, countered by 9 submissions from Min's representatives. The main issues were whether HYBE could disregard the contract supporting Min Hee Jin and Adore's executives for 5 years, and whether they had valid reasons to fire Min. Her legal side said that both HYBE and Min Hee Jin agreed to the voting rights agreement, so it's fair that they stick to it. HYBE refused to comply though, so the court sided with Min, ruling that the shareholder agreement's wording was unambiguous. The statement also mentioned that the court had rejected the Kakao Talk conversations that were submitted by HYBE as a possible cause to terminate Min. All in all, the company failed to prove that they had reasonable cause to dismiss her as Adore CEO. They also mentioned that HYBE obtained the infamous Kakao Talk conversations illegally and then maliciously edited them to start a witch hunt against her in the media. Sejong, the legal representative, accused third parties of spreading the edited conversations through the press. They went on to say, even now, YouTubers and bloggers are editing the messages, which violates and defames Min Hee Jin and Adore's executives' private lives. And they went on to threaten these people with legal action. Knowing that these messages between Min Hee Jin and Adore's vice president were a big part of HYBE's argument against her, there were some questions about them during the second press conference. The lawyer once again emphasized that the messages were leaked without permission from the people involved. The lawyer, Lee Suk-mi, repeated that the Kakao Talk messages were disclosed during HYBE's internal investigation, not a proper audit as required by the Commercial Act. However, according to Lee Suk-mi, the court didn't see any valid reason for this investigation, so the release of the messages was considered illegal since the parties involved hadn't approved their disclosure. Min Hee Jin was also asked about the messages in which she can be seen insulting the New Jeans members. The messages included making awful remarks about the members' appearances. Min previously released a statement addressing the situation, emphasizing that complex human relationships can't be understood through a few scraps of Kakao Talk conversations. She stated there was no need for excuses or clarifications, and noted that her personality, casual speech, and humor weren't known to those seeing and judging the messages. She explained that she and New Jeans had faced many challenges together which had strengthened their bond, and further explanations would only reveal private matters and create more issues. A journalist then asked her if she had spoken to the members and if they had any comments on the matter. In response, Min Hee Jin said that she didn't recall making those comments, explaining that she couldn't remember the details since the conversations happened so long ago. She also emphasized that the messages were not an issue and the New Jeans members never confronted her about them. Instead, they reached out to her to check on her well-being when this whole thing went down. HYBE's previous claims about Min Hee Jin meeting with high-ranking officials from Dunamu and Naver so she could talk them into buying Adore shares from HYBE also came up during the press conference. In a statement on May 19th, Min Hee Jin explained that she was invited to dinner by her acquaintance, who was referred to as A. During the meal, one of A's friends invited another acquaintance to join, whose identity Min wasn't aware of initially. About an hour later, this person arrived and introduced themselves as Mr. C from Dunamu. Min then stated that everyone at the table had connections with Mr. B from Naver, who also joined them. She clarified that the gathering wasn't intended to discuss investments, but rather turn into a personal gathering, and emphasized that the meeting with Mr. C from Dunamu wasn't as significant as HYBE portrayed it to be. She was asked about this at the press conference as well, as she explained, "I was so confident because I didn't commit any crimes. I know myself the best. I haven't met anyone and haven't talked about that. Dunamu and Naver were private meetings, and it was all staged." The court ruled that HYBE's allegations of misconduct against Min Hee Jin lacked sufficient evidence. HYBE had claimed that Min's behavior constituted a breach of duty and other offenses that would justify her dismissal, but the court determined that HYBE's evidence wasn't convincing enough to support her removal. The court noted that Min Hee Jin had been trying to renegotiate the shareholder agreement since late 2023, since she wanted to reduce HYBE's control over Adore to gain more independence for herself and New Jeans. However, the court found no solid evidence that she took actual steps to make these changes, and concluded that while her actions might seem disloyal, they did not amount to a breach of duty or any illegal activities harmful to Adore or HYBE. Min Hee Jin's accusations against HYBE for plagiarism were also considered. If you remember, she said that HYBE discriminated against New Jeans, unfairly unfairly promoted their albums and ignored IELIT's alleged plagiarism of NewJeans. The court ended up recognizing the public concerns about the similarities between IELIT and NewJeans and acknowledged that it was Min Hee Jin's responsibility to safeguard NewJeans' interests. Thus, the court deemed Min Hee Jin's actions in raising these issues as legitimate and justified. Attorney No Dong-won explained that Min Hee Jin's actions to address alleged plagiarism and discrimination by HYBE were seen as fulfilling her duty to protect NewJeans. Min herself still stands by her word and still believes that HYBE stole her work. Actually, she was questioned about her stance on IELIT's alleged plagiarism at the press conference. Even though she had been pretty vocal about her thoughts on this matter through her numerous statements, this time she expressed concerns about causing further harm to IELIT members. She said, "I am a consistent person. There isn't any reason why I would suddenly change my mind. The more I talk about it, the more uncomfortable IELIT will be." Min Hee Jin was also asked about her future approach to raising concerns within the company. She replied that while she didn't ask for conflicts, she believed in the importance of healthy discussions. She then emphasized that the court had recognized the need for this and stated that if there were valid reasons to address an issue, she would do so. The court also noted Min Hee Jin's concerns about HYBE's discrimination against NewJeans and sales manipulation were not entirely baseless. Therefore, it was difficult to conclude that Min acted intentionally or with gross negligence to harm Adore or HYBE or seriously violated any obligations. The court rejected HYBE's claims that she leaked Adore's trade secrets, noting a lack of solid evidence. The court found that the information, including Kakao Talk conversations, wasn't considered trade secrets and didn't cause financial harm to Adore. Even with all the problems that they've had for a while now, Min Hee Jin still extended an olive branch to the parent company. She said, "I wonder who can benefit from this feud. I am tired of exchanging salvos and hope we can discuss constructive ways to proceed toward a direction that can benefit everyone." She also said that she wanted to focus on her work with NewJeans and talked about how profitable she was for the company. More specifically, she pointed out that she had contributed 110.3 billion won to the company. She emphasized that top boy bands are typically the main source of income for K-pop labels, but with NewJeans, she managed to turn a profit in just 2 years, equivalent to what these boy groups achieve in 5 to 7 years. She said, "A company is not the place to build friendship, and I believe business people should prove themselves with numbers. So can HYBE still say that I committed an act of betrayal?" However, it seems like this issue is far from over, as HYBE reportedly isn't very keen on reconciling with her. An industry insider said that while HYBE can't fire Min Hee Jin due to the court's orders, they're still planning to push against her through police investigations or related lawsuits. This decision has surprised netizens because ever since this started, HYBE has lost more than they have gained. While Min has largely won the support and love of the public, HYBE managed to ruin the images of their groups, specifically LE SSERAFIM and IELIT. They were also exposed to album pushing, lost a lot in market capitalization, and at the end of it all, they couldn't even kick Min Hee Jin out. That is, unless they pay her a huge sum of money. Not to mention the severe media play that put them in a bad light. You would think that since their stocks went up after Min Hee Jin offered to reconcile with them, that they would be eager to do so, but it seems like their ego was bruised, and they're going to take revenge for that. As a netizen put it, "At least Min Hee Jin already said, let's make a truce and paint herself as the bigger person. This is a self-destruction move from HYBE because they sound like a bunch of sore losers." HYBE has yet to officially respond to her statements, but we can get strapped in for a round 2 of this fight.